Good morning this Sunday morning. If you observe the Sabbath, I hope you had a lovely Sabbath. And if not, I hope you get a chance to rest and recuperate and recharge for the coming week. This morning, our text is Habbakuk chapter 2, verse 4. And really the whole chapter, but we're not going to cover the whole chapter. It's just the chapter is important for the context. But the text is, "Behold, he whose soul is not upright in him shall fail, but the righteous shall live by his faith." And this is in the Revised Standard Version again. If we look at the Hebrew, and this is at the website blueletterbible.org, which is basically a Christian Bible study website, but I find it to be a very powerful resource for Bible study, because it incorporates and also integrates numerous different study resources into one, and it's all connected just by clicking on buttons and clicking on links. And it just beats constantly pulling down heavy tomes from your shelf and flipping through the pages to get to the reference you want, when it's all right there at the speed of light. So I've been using this since the mid-90s, and I've not really found anything else that satisfies me the way this resource does. So with this, I can click on the verse, and then I can immediately look at the interlinear translation, which is the word for word translation. And here it says where it says the righteous, that word is tzaddik. This kind of flies in the face of the idea that there is no righteous person without a certain human sacrifice. This word for a righteous person is used. We can take a look at it. It's used how many times? 206 times throughout the Hebrew Tanakh. And not just that, there are proofs even in the Christian scriptures that show that there were people who were righteous before the alleged human sacrifice. So, getting back to our passage, it says that the righteous will live. That word there looks like a version of Chaya. Live by his faith, and the word there is Emunah. So what is Emunah? Well, first let's look at how this verse would be taken by the religion that says that a certain human sacrifices, and believing on it is how you get your salvation. They would say the righteous shall live by his faith, saying that because the person believed in this human sacrifice, they would both live and be righteous as a result. because in the Greek, the word that's typically translated faith in, let's see, in this passage, what passage was that I was looking at? That was, yeah, Matthew chapter 21, verse 22. Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. So, taking a look at that word, pistuo, and it comes from the Greek word pistis. So pistis is conviction of the truth of anything, belief, strong and welcome conviction or belief, belief with a prominent or predominant idea of trust or confidence, and then finally at the end, fidelity or faithfulness. So in the Greek concept, like the emphasis seems to be placed on a sort of mental conviction or affirmation of something. Whereas what was the last definition in the Greek seems to be the primary definition in the Hebrew, and that is firmness, fidelity, steadfastness, and steadiness. I personally like the word discipline here because let's see if I could point out. And the very first time that this word is used, Emunah, in the Hebrew Tanakh, and specifically the Torah, it says that Moses' hands grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side, so his hands were steady. That's the word right there. His hands were steady until the going down of the sun. So how does Emunah in this passage line up with the Christian belief in mental assent, that is like a mental affirmation or belief? I think I'm using the word assent there, not A-S-C-E-N-T, but A-S-S-E-N-T. Let me look. Yeah, the expression of approval or agreement, assent. So, whereas in the Greek, in the Christian scriptures, it seems to be more of a mental assent. Here, it's talking about his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. So there's a definite, and this is the first time this word is used in the Hebrew Tanakh, and I believe it's a rule of interpretation that the first time a word is used in the scriptures, that kind of sets the baseline as to the word's meaning throughout. So it's not giving me the, oh right, because I'm already there. So this is why I like the translation discipline, because to stand like this with your hands out or held up, and to do so for an extended period of time. I did this in basic training in the Army, and you would be surprised how difficult it is to hold out your hands for an extended period of time. It requires discipline. And here, with the assistance of Aaron and Hur, his hands were steadied until the going down of the sun. So quite a long time. I mean, we might do PT, physical training, for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours in the Army. But here this was until the going down of the sun. So if we look at that passage again, behold, he whose soul is not upright in him shall fail, but the righteous one shall live by his steadiness, his firmness, his steadfastness, his discipline. His discipline in what? His discipline in his life with the Creator. Expressed how? By doing the things that the Creator commanded him to do. So the meaning is completely different than just merely believing in an alleged human sacrifice. The meaning is much more in line with how Jews still to this day live their faith, by learning the Torah, learning the commandments, and by doing them, and by remaining steadfast, firm, dare I say consistent, and disciplined in doing these things. And this is kind of something that's kind of alien to those who think that just merely believing in something is all that's required. They just don't understand that your righteousness might actually be determined by your conduct and your behavior, and not by some easy get out of jail free card. Of course, whereas Jews are required to obey the 613 mitzvot commandments of the Torah, non-Jews have other requirements because they didn't inherit the Torah the way the children of Israel did. They instead learn from the children of Israel about their moral requirements as non-Jews. And in some cases those requirements are less stringent. I would say in most cases those requirements are less stringent, but in other cases they are more stringent than what the children of Israel are required to do. And this is the prescription, the instruction that the Creator gave to humanity, really, at Mount Sinai. The giving of the Torah was His revelation to mankind. So people say, well, you know, where is the Creator now? Well, He's given you this instruction, the Torah, and you can access it now. And that's His prescription for you, a human being living on the surface of the earth. So if you're searching for the Creator, if you want to see the Creator, if you want to have a revelation of Him, the Torah is that revelation. So turn away from a life of lawlessness, anomia, Torahlessness. That's from Matthew, by the way, if you were to translate it into Hebrew. In the Greek it's anomia, meaning without law. Turn away from a life of being without law and turn towards the Torah, the law, the instruction that the Creator gave to mankind. That's how you get closer to Him. If a parent were to sincerely and with great concern and with pure intentions provide his children with a set of instructions and advice to help them through life, and that child ignored and disregarded all of that advice, it would be disrespectful, wouldn't it? It would be disrespectful. Now, granted, the parent might still love that child, but he would be very aggrieved that the child refused to pay any attention to any of his advice, any of his instruction or counsel. So we, if we're trying to get closer to him, we should pay attention to his advice and apply it in our lives. So this has been today's Ascent. I'll try to get you another daily devotion tomorrow and stay in this habit. Eventually, I am working on a discovery from the scriptures. Eventually, I will have various polemics that would be like controversies or arguments between different ideologies, videos with polemics accessible, also discoveries that I have made in my studies of the scriptures, and make those available to those who want them. But for now, this has been our passage for the day. Habbakuk chapter 2 verse 4. I will be going into this chapter more in this study that I'm currently working on. So, peace be with you today and through the coming week, and let's all strive to go up higher.